Alexander Payne's highly original new sci-fi comedy Downsizing starts with a novel suggestion on how to cope with climate change and an increasingly overpopulated planet. A Norwegian scientist, Dr. Jørgen Absjordsson, Rolf Lassgard, has devised a formula to reduce the size of a human being from 2,744 to 1, and as he announces at a conference on human sustainability in Istanbul, he's experimented on himself. He and his wife are now no bigger than a finger. The advantages are clear. Minimized people make a smaller footprint on the planet, take up less space, consume less food. And for these little people, everything will be cheaper because the houses in which they live will also be smaller. The process is irreversible, though. Once downsized, there's no going back. A few years after the scientist's earth-shattering announcement, and without government involvement, private enterprise has taken up the challenge in a big way, creating little communities like Leisureland to house the miniature citizens. Downsizing has become a streamlined, assembly line process, though there is the occasional accident. One poor fellow's head exploded, we're told, because of his gold teeth. Paul Safranak, Matt Damon, is an occupational therapist, a pudgy everyman who lives in Omaha, Nebraska with his wife Audrey, Kristen Wiig. When they attend a school reunion and meet a couple of old friends who've happily downsized, they decide to give it a go. The main attraction for them has nothing to do with saving the planet. It just means they'll be able to afford a far more lavish lifestyle. Things, of course, don't turn out quite like that, and it wouldn't be fair to give away too much of the plot. Suffice to say that Paul isn't as over the moon about his new lifestyle as he thought he'd be. Alexander Payne is a superb filmmaker, as anyone who's seen his earlier work, including About Schmidt, Sideways, and Nebraska, will testify. Downsizing is his most ambitious satire on the human condition, and for much of its length it's brilliantly done, as it takes us on what seems to be an all-too-plausible journey. The central section of the film introduces new characters, Christoph Waltz and Udo Kier, both hilarious as Eurotrash types.
Don't be so American. You're a nice guy, Paul. You're a little bit pathetic guy. Last night you dance, you laugh, but inside you cry.
Who are you to talk to me that way?
Dusan Mirkovic, your neighbor. Neighbors are friends, friends tell friends the truth. Okay, maybe sometimes I'm a little bit asshole, but the world needs assholes, otherwise where would shit go out?
And Hong Chow, who plays one-legged Vietnamese immigrant Ngoc Lam, who works as a house cleaner in Leisureland. It's through this character that Paul, a typically blinkered middle American, is made aware of the existence of less advantaged people who, even in this brave new world, are struggling to survive. He also discovers a massive Trumpian wall designed to keep undesirables out. Payne's realization of these scenes is masterly and confirms him as a provocateur without parallel in today's mostly bland Hollywood. It is unfortunate, then, that the final part of the film, in which the action returns to Norway, where it all began, is pretty unsatisfactory. It's at this point that you really want to be emotionally involved in the characters and their situation, but somehow that doesn't quite happen. It also extends the film's running time needlessly to the 2.25-hour mark. Despite this, Downsizing is a must-see film this summer. Perhaps its flaws seem greater because the entire enterprise is so bold, so imaginative, so funny, troubling, and daring. You want it to be a masterpiece, but it does fall a little short. I'm giving it 3.5 stars.